Hi, if you're a pig farmer and you aren't thinking about genetics, then you are leaving money on the table every single cycle. Most of the pig farms that I engage with are usually obsessed over feed costs, management costs, housing costs. These costs are all valid, but one thing that they constantly underestimate is that of genetics. Today I'm going to be showing you exactly why genetics is not just a cost, genetics is a multiplier. Point one, think of your peak genetic potential as the ceiling. Now think of all other variables such as the feed, the housing, the management, as all of those things that helps the pig to get to that ceiling. Now the problem is this, if your peak genetic potential is poor, then no matter how good your management is, no matter how good your nutrition is, no matter how good your housing is, it simply cannot push past that level. Farms that I've worked with that were able to upgrade their pig genetics were able to simultaneously reduce the days that the pig spends to market by as much as 8 to 12 days without changing a single gram of feed. That's not a small win. At scale, that's transformational. Point two, when I ask most farmers what genetic traits that they are usually interested in, they usually say they will prefer growth rates and litter size. But elite genetics doesn't just end at that. Elite genetics cuts through five core areas. The first is the feed conversion rate. This refers to how much of feed you are putting in to get a kilo of weight. The second has to do with the lean meat percentage. Okay, so you don't want to produce a pig that is too fatty. The third one has to do with the structural soundness of the pig. So if you want your sow to stay a long time, when it comes to sow longevity, you have to select a sow that is structurally sound. The fourth has to do with litter uniformity. So it's not just about born alive. We're talking about the litter consistency, of course, the consistency of the weight of the piglet that are actually born alive. And the last is temperament. So you actually want to be able to manage pigs that are of calmer disposition than those that are violent, and they would wreak havoc in your pen. Point three, you don't need a massive budget to start thinking about making some changes in the genetics of your farm. Just follow these three key steps. The first step is you need to know your genetics. You need to know what you are currently facing in your farm. You need to know the litter size. If you are facing problems with litter size, if you are facing problems with replacing your sow every one or two parity, if you are facing problems with growth rate, you need to know those problems. Number two, you need to benchmark what's in your farm with what's available with better genetics. You're going to be shocked. So if you're possibly doing maybe eight, you're winning eight piglets from a sow. If you benchmark that with what's available with better genetics, you see the gap. With better genetics, you'll be able to win probably 15. So if you are winning eight and with better genetics, you should be winning 15. That's a margin of 7, and that's really transformational at scale. So you need to benchmark what you have in your farm with what's available when you start engaging with genetics, better genetics. And then point three, you don't need to overhaul your entire farm immediately. You can start with one change there, one change here, and then at the end of the day, you get better result and value for your investment. In conclusion, if you're a pig farmer today, you really need to start taking the genetics of your farm seriously. Genetics is not an abstract concept. It plays out every day in terms of the profit you're supposed to be making from your farm. It plays out in terms of the litter size and the piglets weaned by the sow every year. It plays out in growth rates. It plays out with the fact that you have to be replacing your sows every one or two parity. So there are serious ramifications for you trying to get the best genetics for your farm.